I love anything that gets people fired up. Like I'm all for, I love technology. I love the internet, but I hate social media. I think it's hugely detrimental to us as a society. I believe that. And maybe that's just because it's the real, I guess, 15 minutes of fame of other people's lives and influences and, fake boobs and fake booties and guys with big muscles. That's what's making people feel like they're less than. I think that is a big part of it. But I think another big part of it is the fact that it is stealing our time away, stealing our attention. I really feel like that's a big part of it. Is there any, I'm sure they've done studies and I'm not sure if you know of them or if you have any feedback, but there's a huge rise in the mental health. There's a mental health epidemic going on effectively. And a lot of people blame social media. But along the same time, I'm not being very eloquent today. I keep messing up my words.
That's all right.
So along the same timeline, though, was the rise of esports. So is there a correlation between esports, you think, and a rise in mental health issues?
I don't think so, because I don't have any studies, obviously, about this, but some anecdotal evidence. So, for example, people who go to school and don't feel part of a friendship group because they don't enjoy the same things that other people enjoy. So a direct example is some people I know who run a university group were kind of given this girl by the psych staff at the university. And they said, look, she doesn't really have any friends. She doesn't feel like she fits in with anyone. No one has any similar things. And she's too scared to talk to anyone, lecturers, her other students, anyone like that. And it turns out she was a massive World of Warcraft fan. And so was so many people that were in that group. So they passed her to the group. She kept coming back every single week because she could talk about something that she actually liked, which was World of Warcraft. And then she came out of her shell because of that. She found other people that had similar likeness to them. Another example for me is GG Easy Bar on 99 Queen Street here. It's an esports bar. So it's a sports bar, the same way that you might see rugby AFL on all the screens. It's just got games on all of the screens. There's not really any computers to play, or any consoles to play. It's just about going there. They've got great quality, like Japanese, Australian fusion food as well. Yeah, cool. It's fantastic. Makes it easy to recommend. And good drinks and well priced. But for them too, for me, I've never enjoyed a sports bar because it's not my scene at all. I don't get along with that bloke aspect, and the same way that these people have preconceived ideas about gamers have preconceived ideas at sports bars where you go to drink VB and punch each other in the head. So I feel very at home at GG Easy Bar because I just talk the same language basically as everyone else there. I'm watching different games on the screens. There's other evidence around high school esports. There's been a very big thing in Australia and especially overseas with the company Play VS, who's raised, what is it today? Like 100 to 150 mil USD today in capital in total. And that too has helped people actually go to school, because the very simple argument that I can make for that is my friends used to skip school a lot to stay home and play games for 7 hours that day. Would you rather them do that, or would you rather them come to school for 6 hours and then play games for 1 hour of it? Because at least then they're getting 6 hours of schooling. And what they can see is that there's a lot of positive peer pressure based around that too, where these high school leagues have the teachers and the principal obviously know that the league's happening, but it's quite often primarily an after-school activity. But if they're not participating in school, if they're not turning up, they're not handing in their assignments, they can be banned from the league. They can be given a hiatus from a few games. So there's a lot of positive peer pressure then of the four other mates saying, "Oi, come to school because we're about to be kicked out of the tournament because you simply don't want to turn up because you want to stay home and play games." Yeah. So you're getting people active. So once again, it's giving. It's the way I see it is you're giving people what they want, but it's because you need to spin it in a social way. There needs to be something behind it. The same way that it was saying that if you want to promote these healthy eating alternative companies, you need to use the same kind of vehicles. You need to give them something that they care about. The same way that people don't necessarily just want to go to a skate park anymore. They don't just want to play board games. If you can get them out with the video game, but there's a good social message and actually something behind it, then you can get the interest to them.
You know what? It's a fantastic answer. But I don't know about it. I don't know about it. Well, but I agree with a lot of what you said. Yeah. Because you basically, your answer was crafted around community. Yeah. Because that is really the thing that, and I always waffle on about this on this podcast whenever I can relate something to it, because I think in this whole rise of, mental health epidemic, whatever it is. It's, I believe, around the fact that we don't have as tight a community as we once would, you know. So, and community is great. So, you know, if you have, I'm really enjoying, like I said, the new climbing gym that I'm at, and I've started to make some buddies down there. It's cool. I'm meeting new people. I have a weightlifting club that I'm a part of. I may play football with my brother. I haven't played football in 8 years, but he's playing this year, and I don't like the blokey bloke football environment, but I like just hanging out with people.
Yeah.
So community's huge, and I understand that there would be a tight, strong community in gaming, but it just seems too virtual to me. Because, for example, if we've got, like, this is now, right? This is now the rise of esports. Where will it be in 10 or 15 years? You know, if it's gaining traction so rapidly and it's really about to explode, and it is exploding, then I just feel like it would be unstoppable. Really, I feel like esports and gaming in general will be unstoppable. It's like social media on steroids. But when we get to that point in 10 or 15 years, I just can't see that it could be a healthy. I just think there's so many issues. I mean, and all your answers have, you know, steps that are going in the right direction. But I'm very much, you know, sitting on the other side of the fence to you, and whether it's a good or bad thing.
I think it's important to see too the crossovers, that the people who play games is not the only thing they do. So the same way that you said that you do the bouldering gym plus the weightlifting, etc. So for me, I play games, I also do jiu-jitsu. And I see a lot of crossovers there with the friendliness in jiu-jitsu and why it's a welcoming community, because everyone's choking each other out. It's a very humbling sport, similar to esports. So you've got these different communities that happen, but there's also a lot of studies of crossover between certain video games and certain sports as well. So video game players and esports fanatics are very likely to be fans of single or small team sports like golf or basketball. Because, for example, with basketball, it's 5v5 on the court, similar to most esports and games, 4v4, 5v5, 6v6, some are 2v2, whatever. But you've got that similar small team aspect. Also, you can shoot hoops by yourself the same way you can play games by yourself. So a lot of gamers, they seem to like that small team atmosphere. And similar with me with my mates, most of the time when we hang out, there's not 15, 20 of us on a footy trip, for example. There's usually 3 to 6 of us hanging out because we can all have that talk and be part of that community.
Yeah, well, yeah. Again, I'm not trying to be negative about it. Yeah. I'm just trying to push back and play devil's advocate. Yeah, as I said, I really love tech. I just think there's a lot of issues with the rise of tech in our lives.